After 3 years of marriage, during which he had treated me with the utmost gentleness, I still filed for divorce. That night, he became a different person, leaving me with no way out. Reason? I trembled like a leaf. I want a child of my own. His eyes darkened, then he let out a knowing chuckle. Guess I haven't been doing my part. Page Yuan was always busy. Whenever it got late, I'd call him, worried. When are you coming back? Sometimes it was noisy on his end, like he was playing cards. He'd exchange a few words with his friends, then take a moment to reply to me. Don't wait up. You go to sleep. I never knew what else to say, so I'd just hum in acknowledgement. Before hanging up, he'd thoughtfully say goodnight. I'd politely reply, thank you. I'm a light sleeper. I always knew when he came home, but I pretended to be asleep. Sometimes I even secretly hoped he'd slide into bed behind me and hold me close. But reality was different. Every time, his heart remained as still as water, while mine was a restless stallion, leaving me sleepless night after night. Marrying Page Yuan was a coincidence. 3 years ago, my parents were desperately urging me to get married. After I rejected blind dates too many times, they grew irritable, saying that if I didn't find someone soon, all the good men would be taken. I was swamped with work every day and casually brushed them off. Don't worry, I already have a boyfriend. To my surprise, they took it seriously and video called me, insisting on seeing what my boyfriend looked like. Just then, Page Yuan happened to walk past in the frame. My parents exclaimed excitedly, he's handsome. Good bearing too. Look at that physique. He'll definitely give us 3 grandchildren in 2 years. Although I spent the next few minutes explaining desperately, that's my boss. My parents had already launched into a full-blown fantasy of the CEO fell in love with me. I couldn't defend myself. What followed was beyond my control. Somehow, my parents got in touch with Page Yuan. When I saw him show up at my house, I was absolutely floored. Page Yuan adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses with his slender index finger, his voice calm. Boyfriend? My parents stood there beaming at us. I was trapped, thinking I might as well just commit to the lie to placate the old folks for now. I tugged at the seam of his pants under the table, signaling him to play along. Page Yuan glanced down, raised an eyebrow, and smoothly went along with it. I thought you told your parents about our plans to get married. Marriage? I couldn't accept this. I frantically signaled him with my eyes, telling him to stop while he was ahead, not to take it too far. Of course, my parents were overjoyed, crying and hugging each other. And that's how I somehow ended up getting a marriage license with Page Yuan. How was life after marriage? I'd say it was blessed with happiness, but lacking in passion. Page Yuan, the decisive and forceful presence in the office, was so gentle at home it could make your heart melt. But after 3 years, we were married in name only. Tonight was the company dinner. A new male subordinate kept toasting me. Pleased, I drank a bit too much. On my way back from the restroom, he blocked my path. Sister Kiao, you okay? I'm fine. I waved my hand, but I felt nauseous. You're Pei Xiang? Wow, Sister Kiao, you have a good memory. Pei Xiang had just graduated. His skin was flawless, his appearance youthful and fresh, the stars in his eyes shining brightly. Youth was truly enviable. Work hard. I tried to walk past him but stumbled, nearly falling. Pei Xiang quickly steadied me. It was in that moment that I sensed something off. I immediately pulled away. Pei Xiang didn't try to hide it. Sister Kiao, you look cute when you're drunk. The young guy's intentions weren't hard to guess, because he wasn't trying to conceal them. I replied, even if I look cute, it's none of your business. Don't say I didn't warn you. Our company has a strict policy against office romance. With that, I returned to the private room. Halfway there, I ran right into Page Yuan. He glanced at me, and as he passed, muttered quietly, can't hold your liquor, but can't resist drinking. You'll come home and make a scene again. I don't usually smoke or drink, but whenever there's a company dinner, I really get into the drinking. I've been drunk many times before, always blacking out. From Page Yuan, I've only heard snippets of what happened, like how I'd cling to him and call him daddy. And sometimes, Sonny. The alcohol hit me hard by the end of the dinner. My steps were unsteady, like walking on cotton. Everyone had been drinking, So they either called a driver or took a taxi. Someone asked me, "Sister Kiao, how are you getting back?" I glanced subtly at Pei Jiwan. "I'll take a taxi too." After saying goodbye to everyone, I saw the coast was clear and quickly slipped into Pei Jiwan's car. But then a voice came from the back seat. "Sister Kiao, is it on your way?" Startled, I turned to see Pei Xiang leaning forward excitedly. I looked at Pei Jiwan in shock. Why was this young guy here? Pei Jiwan started the car and said casually, "Say another word, and you can crawl home yourself." Pei Xiang shut up for a moment, then asked, "Uncle, can I crash at your place tonight? I don't want to stay in a hotel anymore. It doesn't feel like home, and my parents don't know I'm back. You know they want me to stay abroad." "Uncle? Wait, he's staying at our place." My head spun. I felt like I was going to throw up. Pei Xiang leaned forward with concern. "Sister Kiao, you okay? Where do you live? I can ask Uncle to take you there first." I chose to stay silent, and Pei Jiwan chose to ignore him. Soon enough, I fell asleep. I was woken by Pei Xiang's voice. Pei Jiwan was carrying me to his room, and Pei Xiang followed nervously, muttering, "Uncle, is this really okay? We're just taking a drunk woman home and putting her in your bed. Maybe we should wake her up and send her home?" I was already awake, but I pretended to be asleep. After all, I had just told this young guy firmly about the no office romance policy. As his direct supervisor, I couldn't lose my authority. Pei Jiwan laid me on the bed, covered me up, and walked out. Pei Xiang quickly followed. When I heard them leave, I weakly propped myself up and listened by the door. Pei Jiwan curtly told him to go take a shower and sleep in the guest room. Pei Xiang asked, "Then where will you sleep?" Pei Jiwan, "That's not for you to worry about." Pei Xiang dared not say more. He obediently took a shower, finishing in a few minutes, and went to the guest room. I held my bladder, rushed to the bathroom, and took a shower too. When I came out, I saw Pei Jiwan leaning back on the sofa, eyes closed. I paused on my way back to the room. What did our marriage mean to him? We had only signed papers, no wedding. I had never met his relatives. Almost no one knew about our relationship. I wasn't wealthy, and he didn't seem interested in my body. But things were different for me. While it was true I got the license to appease my parents' constant nagging, after 3 years of living together day in and day out, I had long since grown greedy for him. Since we had a marriage license, sleeping with him was within my rights, right? With the remnants of my drunken courage, I decided to exercise my marital rights. My knees buckled, and I threw myself at Pei Jiwan. He slowly opened his eyes, his dark lashes lowering to look at me. "What are you trying to do now?" "My head hurts." I simply lay across his chest. "I can't seem to stand up. Can you carry me to the bedroom?" Pei Jiwan raised an eyebrow, a faint, unfathomable flicker in his eyes. "Are you sure?" I swallowed hard, my hands restlessly reaching up to wrap around his neck as I leaned in to kiss him. But my puckered lips were covered by his palm. Pei Jiwan lowered his voice in warning. "We have a guest tonight. Behave yourself." I moved closer to his ear and whispered back, "Isn't that what makes it exciting?" Pei Jiwan frowned, his gaze fixed on me. My cheeks burned, but I shamelessly pressed on. "Anyway, I'm drunk. I won't remember a thing tomorrow." "Kiao Run, do you know what you're saying?" His voice was stern, his eyes even darker. His grip on my wrists tightened. I let out a soft whimper of "it hurts," and he let out a low chuckle. "That hurts?" His tone was so gentle, but his eyes held a dangerous, somber edge. A little scared, I tried to pull my hands back, complaining softly, "Is this how you always bully me when I get drunk?" He didn't let go, a faint smile playing on his lips. "Maybe worse, since you won't remember it anyway." His teasing sparked my temper. I challenged him. "Well, tonight, I'm going to bully you." Fueled by the alcohol, I started getting rowdy. Pei Jiwan tried to stop me, but I was being too reckless, making him fumble a bit. Just as we were tangled together, the handle of the guest room door turned. In an instant, Pei Jiwan wrapped an arm around my waist, scooped me up, and strode into our room. The moment Pei Jiwan closed the door behind us, I heard Pei Xiang's voice in the living room. "Uncle?" He called out a couple of times, then went quiet. The outside suddenly became eerily silent, just one door away. Pei Jiwan held me against the door, neither of us making a sound. I giggled, covering my mouth. Pei Jiwan looked down. Amusing? I nodded, deliberately teasing him. What if I screamed assault right now? Think your nephew would come barging in? Pei Jiwan raised an eyebrow, unfazed. Well, why not give it a try? Well, okay. I didn't dare. He was always like this. There was nothing that seemed to intimidate him. He was always so calm and composed. His lack of romantic spark cooled my mood. I wriggled out of his arms and flopped onto the bed, closing my eyes to sleep. Suddenly, a soft blanket was placed over my lower half. Pei Jiwan glanced down at my nightgown from his commanding height. You're exposed. Thank you. So unromantic. I grumbled, burying my face in the pillow. I really wonder if you even like women. Pei Jiwan leaned down, his lips near my ear. You don't need to wonder about that. I can say with certainty I'm not into men. That made me even angrier. I flipped over indignantly. So, you're saying the problem is that I'm not attractive enough? As soon as the words left my mouth, my cheeks flushed. Pei Jiwan's face was right there, his eyes looking at me with a nonchalant intensity. Embarrassed, I averted my gaze, cursing my sudden cowardice. Pei Jiwan lowered his voice. How much did you drink tonight? Double quotes ... not much. Drink like this again, and you'll face the family consequences. I looked at him in surprise. Family consequences? We had those? Pei Jiwan smirked, the smile not reaching his eyes. Try it next time and you'll find out. I felt a bit intimidated. It sounded serious. I pushed at his chest. Aren't you going out to sleep? No need. He got up, unbuttoning his shirt with one hand. Do you think my nephew is so clueless he doesn't know where I am now? True. I stared at the straight lines of his back, feeling that restless urge again. Pei Jiwan didn't even turn around. Don't even think about it. You're not getting me tonight. Damn. The next morning, when I woke up, Pei Jiwan was already gone. When I opened the door, Pei Xiang glanced at me. That glance said everything. He knew. Pei Jiwan had made breakfast. The meal was unusually quiet. At the company later, Pei Xiang's client still wasn't satisfied with the proposal. As a newcomer, he asked me to accompany him to see the client and settle the matter once and for all. On the way there, Pei Xiang finally spoke. No one in our family knows you're married to my uncle. Yeah, I was driving. Pei Xiang asked, confused. Doesn't that bother you? I smiled, watching the traffic. Honestly, that's one of the reasons I decided to marry him. What do you mean? I didn't want to deal with complicated in-law relationships and I didn't want to have children. Not being involved with his family meant I wouldn't have to face those issues. That was only half true. I hadn't wanted to get married or have kids back then. The impulsive decision to get the license with Pei Jiwan was indeed to escape the endless nagging about marriage. And it was true that I didn't have to deal with his family. At the time, I explained to my parents that I was marrying Pei Jiwan, not his family. We weren't having a wedding, and there was no need for the families to connect, as long as we were happy together. My parents, unable to sway me and completely satisfied with Pei Jiwan, reluctantly accepted this modern approach. But now, all those reasons have become a question mark in my heart. Pei Xiang was quiet for a moment, then spoke again. But I don't think my uncle married you because he loves you. My heart skipped a beat. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel, forcing a smile. Oh? Was it my irresistible charm? Did he marry me because he's captivated by my beauty? Pei Xiang let out a dry laugh. Sister Kiao, if anything, my uncle is the lucky one. I clicked my tongue. Sister? Call me auntie. Pei Xiang stubbornly looked out the window. It's either Sister Kiao or Kiao Rem. Take your pick. Oh, this kid, he was really asking for it. The person in charge at the other company was a beautiful woman. She greeted Pei Xiang naturally upon seeing him. Zhao Xiang, your mother mentioned yesterday that she couldn't reach you. You haven't told them you're back yet. Zuji, please don't tell them. One want a few more days of freedom. Don't worry, I didn't say anything. The two seemed quite familiar. Pei Xiang introduced her to me. Sister Kiao, this is Liang Zhu. I extended my hand politely. Hello, Kiao Run, nice to meet you. Liang Zhu gave a perfunctory handshake and led Pei Xiang toward the office. I gathered that the contract Pei Xiang had secured was a favor. I stepped forward and followed them in. Before closing the door, I heard Liang Zhu ask Pei Xiang, "Why didn't your uncle come with you?" I instinctively glanced at Liang Zhu. Pei Xiang stole a quick look at me and stammered, "Zuji, my uncle is busy. Sister Kiao is my supervisor. If you have any changes you need, you can discuss them with her." Liang Zhu's lips turned down in disappointment. "Oh, I see. Then let's wait until your uncle is free. I'm in no hurry anyway." She sank into her leather chair and began chatting with Pei Xiang about family matters, completely ignoring me the entire time. I understood then. The repeated dissatisfaction with the proposal was just an excuse. She wanted to see Pei Jiwan. "Miss Liang, I'll convey your message to Director Pei. I won't disturb you further today." I smiled and glanced at Pei Xiang. "Let's go." With that, I turned and headed for the door. I'm not finished talking with Pei Xiang. "Jiang, you stay. We'll grab a meal later." Liang Zhu was forceful, brooking no argument, her tone full of arrogance. I stopped walking but said nothing. After a moment, I looked back at Pei Xiang, perhaps intimidated by my gaze. Pei Xiang shrank back, gathered his documents and hurried after me. "Zuji, I'll head off now. Another time." "I'll treat you another time." Liang Zhu frowned, her expression incredulous as she shot a sharp glare our way. I returned a smile and walked off with Pei Xiang. Pei Xiang had been at the company less than a month, so of course he knew I had a temper. On the way back, I didn't say a word. Pei Xiang came clean. "Liang Zhu is my uncle's ex-girlfriend. They grew up together. 3 years ago, they suddenly broke up for some reason. Now Liang Zhu is back in the country and wants to rekindle things. But they're both too proud. So Liang Zhu created a convenient excuse for herself." "Right." I let out a humorless laugh. How childish for people their age. Back at the company, Pei Jiwan blocked my path outside the restroom. "I heard you went to Liang Corp as soon as you got back." "Yeah, I went." I stood before him calmly. Pei Jiwan had always been able to see right through people. "You saw Liang Zhu?" "Yeah, I saw her. She's quite beautiful." I turned to leave, but he suddenly grabbed my arm. "Are you upset?" I didn't look up. She didn't do anything to upset me. What would I be upset about? I went back to work. But just before quitting time, a company group chat exploded. "Sister Kiao, check the chat." Pei Xian alerted me. I opened the work group with surprise. The next moment I froze. Someone had taken candid photos of Pei Jiwan and me arguing by the restroom. They also posted several shots of me getting out of Pei Jiwan's car and going home with him. The group chat fell dead silent, but the looks everyone gave me were full of contempt. I caught snippets of gossip. No wonder she became department manager so young. Guess she slept her way to the top. All that arrogance usually means she's got some big boss backing her up. Look at that coy act. She sure knows how to handle men. I clenched my fists discreetly. Pei Xiang tried to comfort me in a low voice. "Sister Kiao, don't listen to them. Should I tell them you're married to my uncle?" "Mind your own business." I continued handling my tasks. Pei Xiang studied my expression. "You're not angry?" "Oh, I'm angry." I curved my lips into a smile, my eyes darkening. "When I find out who posted this, they're dead." Pei propped his chin on his hand, puzzled. Who would do this? What's their motive? Forget about who for now. You free tonight? Join me for a drink? With your tolerance? Sis, I'm afraid you'll say I took advantage of you. I smiled, my eyes narrowing. It's not certain who'll be taking advantage of whom. After work, I took a taxi straight to a bar. Pei Jiwan texted me. "Where are you?" I raised an eyebrow and replied, "Gone for a drink." He sent a question mark. I licked my cheek and replied with a hint of mischief. "Didn't you say if I drank again, there'd be family consequences?" "I want to see what our family consequences are." Pei Jiwan was silent for a while and asked, "Address?" I put away my phone, signaled Pei Xiang to get out of the car, and walked into the bar. After a few rounds, I was thoroughly drunk. Just as I was about to pour another glass, Pei Xiang took it from me and downed it in one gulp. "Sis, you really don't need to do this," he said, holding the glass as he leaned closer to me. The distance between us was dangerously intimate, and his eyes held an unmistakable allure. I poured myself another glass and pretended to drink, but he took it again. This went on a few times. Clearly he was becoming unsteady. I curved my lips slightly, running a hand through my disheveled hair. A flicker of youthful desire crossed Pei Xiang's eyes. The next moment, he reached out to put his arm around my waist. I moved aside. "You've been at the company less than a month, and you're already this into me." Pei Xiang licked his lips, not denying it at all. "You're mature and cute. Isn't it only natural I like you?" I suppose so." I propped my cheek on my wrist. "Attractive and spirited, just the type to appeal to a young guy like you." Pei Xiang leaned in close to my face. "Don't dismiss me just because I'm younger. Young guys have their advantages." "Like?" "Stamina." Well, that was indeed appealing. The kid certainly understood what an older sister needed. My vision blurry from drink, I lined up another 10 shots. I ran my finger over the glasses and signaled for him to continue. Pei Xiang hesitated a few seconds, then drank them one by one. After finishing, he looked about ready to throw up. He barely managed to hold himself up and made another bold move to put his arm around me. I stood up, stepped back, and my eyes instantly cleared. Young people really do have good stamina. Pei Xiang sensed something was off. His eyes narrowed sharply. "You're not drunk?" "With those drinks just now, I honestly had no more than 3. I can handle at least that much." Pei Xiang pressed his lips together in displeasure, retching a couple of times. I leaned down with feigned sympathy. "Feeling awful? Good. Older sisters can be a bit wicked. Consider this a lesson for trying to play me." "You knew?" He didn't seem surprised. I let out a scornful laugh. "You insisted I help you with that client. You were deliberately bringing Liang Zhu in front of me, weren't you? And those photos in the work chat other than you. I can't think of anyone who just happened to see Pei Jiwan and me going home at that exact moment. That's just speculation." "Then is this evidence?" "The original poster was an employee who was in the process of resigning. I just contacted him on WeChat. With a little pressure, he confessed. The one behind it was Pei Xiang." Pei Xiang wiped the alcohol from his lips and smirked. "What now?" "The fact that you're this wicked only makes me like you more." I smacked him on the head. "Pei Xiang, I'm warning you. If you weren't Pei Jiwan's nephew, I wouldn't let this slide so easily. Consider this a warning. Next time, you'll see how I deal with you." Pei Xiang clenched his jaw resentfully, clearly unwilling to accept defeat. "You know what to do about the mess in the work chat, don't you? Clean it up yourself." I turned to leave. Pei Xiang's voice came from behind, full of grievance. "I really don't know what's so great about my uncle. The fact that he has another woman in his heart is true, isn't it? Liang Zhu isn't some actress I hired. You're going to get hurt someday." I stopped abruptly. Pei Xiang instinctively stepped back. I threw him 4 words. "None of your business." Pei Xiang called after me. "You don't think my uncle knows about what happened in the work chat by now? But look, he hasn't done anything. Doesn't that show how he really feels about you?" I stepped out of the bar and the wind cleared my head further. I checked my phone. Nearly an hour had passed since I posted that moment's update with my location clearly marked. But there was no sign of Pei Jiwan. Truth was, I'd known about Liang Zhu for a while. Not long after we got married, I'd accidentally seen a text on Pei Jiwan's phone. It was from a woman. "Just say the word and I'll stay." That woman must have been Liang Zhu. I'd figured she was just an ex. One he hadn't gotten over in 3 years. We had many more years ahead. But from what Pei Xiang said, it seemed she was more than just an ex. Now it all made sense. His heart was already occupied. No room for me. Feeling cold, I wrapped my coat tighter and hailed a taxi home. The house was empty. He hadn't come back. Woman's intuition told me he was with Liang Zhu. Sure enough, when I came out of the shower, there was a new text from an unknown number. "I know about you and Jiwan. He only married you to spite me. You should divorce him." I let out a humorless laugh. Just as I was about to toss my phone aside, another picture came through. Pei Jiwan wearing an apron. Cooking. To be honest, when he cooked like that at home, my heart would race. But in this context, It felt like my heart was being ripped to shreds. I cared about him far more than I realized. There was a saying, wasn't there? The destructive power of the eternal flame. The next message crushed me completely. You and Jiwon aren't really husband and wife, are you? He told me he'd never touch another woman in his life. A chill crept up from my feet, spreading through my entire body. Screw this. I turned off my phone and went to bed. At midnight, Pei Jiwon returned. He moved quietly, but I woke up anyway. Maybe I hadn't really been asleep. I heard the shower running. Then he came out and softly closed the bedroom door. When he got into bed, I sat up. The room was dim. Moonlight filtered through the gap in the curtains. He asked in a low voice, "Did I wake you?" I didn't answer. He went to turn on the light, but I stopped him. "Where did you go?" "Mom and Dad called me over for a visit." He hesitated, about to say more. I could vaguely make out his lips pressed together, as if he didn't know how to begin. I spoke first. "Pei Jiwon, let's get a divorce." My words were resolute. Pei Jiwon was stunned for a few seconds. His voice was slightly unsteady. "Because of Liang Zhu?" "No." I sat at the head of the bed, hugging my knees. Even without Liang Zhu, we both knew the reality of our relationship. Pei Jiwon pressed me, leaving no room for retreat. "Then give me a reason." He was too close, too intimidating. I trembled uncontrollably. I want a child of my own. A child was impossible in a relationship like ours. This marriage had been absurd from the start. Pei Jiwon was silent for a moment, then looked at me tentatively. "Kiao Run, are you saying you want to have a child with me?" I buried my face in my knees, silent, but my cheeks were burning. His eyes darkened. Then he let out a knowing chuckle. "Guess I haven't been doing my part." Wasn't the answer obvious? Somehow, the words just spilled out. A marriage without intimacy won't last. He probably hadn't expected me to be so blunt. He was silent for a long moment before asking, with a hint of resignation, "So love doesn't matter? Do we have love?" My question turned back on him, and I felt a hollow emptiness after asking it. A self-inflicted wound. Pei Jiwon fell silent. His expression seemed to grow heavier. After a moment, he let out a soft, self-mocking laugh. "You're right, we don't. I'm just a tool to keep your parents off your back." Hearing that, I couldn't help but laugh sarcastically too. "Like you're not using me either." The air froze. Pei Jiwon must have caught the lingering smell of alcohol on me. His tone sharpened. "How much did you drink?" I raised my voice too. "I'm not drunk. I know exactly what I'm saying." The truth was, going for drinks tonight wasn't just to warn Pei Xiang. I had been drinking my sorrows away. Even though I hadn't drunk much, I was particularly susceptible to the after-effects. My current temper was certainly influenced by the alcohol. Anyway, we're a fake couple. Might as well get a divorce. What's the point of going on like this? After I said that, we both lapsed into an eerie silence. A long while passed. Suddenly, Pei Jiwon began unbuttoning his pajama top with one hand. My eyes widened. "What are you doing?" Calmly, he said, "Making this marriage real." Wait. As he moved to lean over me, I panicked and pressed my hand against his solid chest. Pei Jiwon glanced down at my hand. "Anything else?" I stammered nervously. "I was talking about divorce." I know." He was very decisive. "I don't want a divorce. So whatever you need, I'll provide." I was a bit speechless. Isn't that like selling your body just to avoid divorce? Pei Jiwon's eyes grew deep. His tone even more resigned, with a hint of grievance. "Maybe because every time you try to seduce me, you're so drunk you act like a John." Did I? His words stung a little. I tried to push him away, but he pulled me back and kissed me. My desire was fully awakened, but I still had enough sense left to ask him, "Were you with Liang Zhu tonight?" Pei Jiwon's breath hitched. He gritted his teeth. "No." "Really?" Sensing I didn't trust him at all, his eyes darkened. He murmured against my ear, "Why don't you check for yourself?" The mood was set, and the alcohol was definitely taking effect. I climbed on top. Yes, I was the one who initiated. But later, I was the one on the receiving end. I slept until 8:30, completely exhausted. Page Yuan made breakfast and came to wake me, but I was still tired and sleepy. I turned over and stayed in bed. He leaned over and whispered in my ear, "If you don't get up, I'll come back to bed with you." No. My eyes snapped open. "This is all your fault, you animal." Page Yuan didn't argue. He scooped me up in his arms. Startled by the sudden loss of gravity, I wrapped my arms around his neck. He carried me to the bathroom, put the pre-toothpasted brush in my mouth. I brushed my teeth in a daze. After washing my face, I was fully awake. Page Yuan placed breakfast on the table as usual. I found myself staring. Before, he had always felt so close yet so far. But now, this man was tangible. "Where's Pei Xing?" he asked casually as he ate. I told him the truth. He was supposed to come back with me, but I left him there. "And just so you know, he's not staying here anymore." Page Yuan looked at me with slight confusion but replied calmly, "You went drinking with him last night. He upset you." "He told you?" "Yeah. Said he'd make sure you got home safe. That Pei Xiang. Young but full of schemes." I took a sip of soup. "Couldn't you tell he has feelings for me?" Page Yuan put his fried egg in my bowl and said nonchalantly, "He's not your type." That piqued my curiosity. "What is my type?" He looked up at me. "Your ex-boyfriend, I suppose." "Since when did I have an ex-boyfriend?" "My ex? What kind of type?" "Cool, handsome, talented, good singer." Well, that was indeed my type. I looked at him suspiciously. "How do you know about my ex-boyfriend? Or what type he was?" Page Yuan's expression cooled. He stopped eating and took his bowl to the kitchen. I finished my meal too, took my bowl to the kitchen and said meaningfully, "You're always so busy, you never had time to pick me up anyway." Page Yuan paused, his chopsticks in mid-air, his gaze fixed on me. I felt uncomfortable under his stare. Did I say something wrong? I opened the text Liang Zhu had sent me and tossed my phone in front of him. He glanced at it, frowning slightly. "I was going to pick you up last night, but my parents suddenly asked me to come over." That photo was taken in my parents' kitchen. "So you're saying Liang Zhu was at your parents' house?" Perhaps surprised by how quickly I'd caught on to that point. Page Yuan let out a laugh. He composed himself after a few seconds and continued, "My parents invited her. I didn't know until I got there." I feigned indifference. "Yeah, sure. Like anyone would believe that." With that, I got up to get ready for work. Page Yuan grabbed my hand. "Find some time to come home with me to meet my parents." I froze, swallowed nervously, and looked up at him in disbelief. He wasn't joking. "Why?" I speculated cautiously. "Did something happen with Liang Zhu that makes you want to use me? Is this a jealousy tactic? Or am I just a shield?" "Kiao run." Page Yuan looked at me. "Can't it simply be because you're a daughter-in-law of the Pei family?" That identity truly startled me. He wasn't wrong though. But I still lowered my head in thought for a few seconds. "Page Yuan, you're not doing this because we slept together last night, are you? You feel responsible?" Page Yuan stopped washing the dishes, his expression serious as he looked at me. I avoided his eyes. It was just a moment of passion. "I'm not 18 anymore. But I'm serious." He cut me off, his eyes deep and unreadable. I knew it would come to this. With that, he grabbed his jacket and walked out, leaving me standing there, utterly bewildered. And now he's the one acting all aggrieved? What did he mean by that? Making me out to be some kind of heartless woman? It was him who had a questionable relationship with his ex, practically cheating. Damn, the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. So by the time I got to the company and ran into Page Yuan, I couldn't even give him a decent look. "Kiao run. Bring in the revised proposal for Liang Corp." His tone was strictly business. He turned and went into his office. I held the folder, keeping my expression neutral, but inwardly I was fuming. Since when did he have time to oversee such a minor client? It was obviously because it involved Liang Zhu. As much as I wanted to let my anger show, I couldn't let personal feelings affect work. Pasting on a smile, I walked in with graceful steps under the watchful eyes of everyone waiting for drama. I placed the file on his desk and gave him a professional smile. "If there's nothing else, I'll head out." Page Yuan glanced up. "What's the situation with this client?" He knew perfectly well. I silently rolled my eyes. When I didn't answer, he slowly lifted his gaze again, hesitating for a moment. Have Pei Xiang come in? He's not here yet, I replied. Pei Jiwan frowned slightly and called Pei Xiang. After hearing something on the other end, he suddenly exploded. 10 minutes. If I don't see you in 10 minutes, I'll make you regret it. I heard Pei Xiang exclaim, 10 minutes? That's impossible. Pei Jiwan hung up and tossed his phone onto the desk. The loud thud made me jump. It was the first time I'd seen him lose his temper like that. Tisk, the power of the eternal flame was truly something else. Kiao Run. Huh? I snapped back to attention. Pei Jiwan leaned back in his leather chair, his gaze sharpening. If we have marital issues, I hope you won't bring that negativity into work. Who was bringing negativity into work, exactly? Oh, so throwing his phone around was supposed to intimidate me, huh? I replied coolly. Understood, Director Pei. Maybe my lack of reaction got under his skin. He stared at me with a dark expression, then sighed heavily. Fine. If you have something to say, just say it. I stood at attention. Director Pei. I have nothing to say. If there's nothing else, I'll be going. Stop. He suddenly rose and strode toward me. I turned to face him. Is there something else, Director Pei? Pei Jiwan narrowed his eyes. You're doing this on purpose. I blinked innocently. I don't know what you mean. What happened to the Kiao Run who would blow up at me over a small client? Did I do that? I played innocent. Pei Jiwan let out a frustrated laugh, his breath warm on my forehead. What do you think? How many times have the employees thought you were about to take over as the boss? I was just advocating for the company's interests. I meant no disrespect. Now you're being cheeky, using the formal you. You're the boss, I'm the employee. I'll be mindful of my place from now on. Kiao Run, that's enough. What's wrong? I tilted my head with an innocent expression. Pei Jiwan ground his teeth, unable to speak for a long moment. Get out. Yes, Director Pei. I smiled, turned, let the smile drop and walked out. Then, under the watchful eyes of the entire staff, after my visit to the manager's office, the boss was in a terrible mood for the rest of the day. Just then, Pei Xiang posted a statement in the group chat, basically saying he had taken the photos and they were edited. But clearly it wasn't very convincing. Now, everyone's attention shifted to me and the boss having a falling out. My relationship with him was illegitimate. I'd wanted to go public and make it official, but the boss didn't agree, so I threatened him. And now the boss was worried. After listening to whispers all day, my ears were practically calloused. Damn, it was annoying. Just as I reached my limit and was about to slam my hand on the desk and stand up, the door to the manager's office opened. Pei Jiwan strode toward me with an imposing aura. What was he doing? Under everyone's watchful eyes, Pei Jiwan stopped in front of me. With one hand in his trouser pocket, he used the other, with its distinct knuckles, to toss the file I had brought in earlier back onto my desk. Come with me to see this client. With that, he turned and walked off, his expression cold. Damn. This only strengthened the rumor that we'd had a falling out. But thinking about it, that was pretty much the state of our relationship anyway. But still, did he have to drag me along to see his ex? I was so angry I wanted to swear, but I held back, tidied up a bit, and followed. This job was so frustrating. In the car, I silently scrolled through my phone. The work group chat was dead silent, but I knew everyone was gossiping like crazy in private. After some thought, just before getting out of the car, I posted a clarification. I don't have any inappropriate feelings for the boss. He's not my type. After posting, I'd already made up my mind. When I got back, I was going to divorce him. Today, before the Civil Affairs Bureau closed, Pei Jiwan went in to see Liang Zhu. I waited outside. About 10 minutes later, he came out. Through the glass door, I could see Liang Zhu crying. I looked at Pei Jiwan's cold, unfeeling face and followed him out of curiosity. As expected of Director Pei, you can make a client cry just doing business. Manager Liang's tears are quite pitiful. Pei Jiwan strode forward, ignoring me, looking down at his phone. Before getting into the car, he gave me a faint smirk. Unlike Miss Kiao, when you cry, it just makes people want to bully you. When have I ever cried? Damn. Last night. Page Ji-won, you pervert. I yelled at him. He got into the car. The next moment, I saw a new message in the group chat. Do you even believe that yourself? Sender. Page Ji-won. This was clearly in response to my earlier clarification. The group chat exploded. Was Director Pei hacked? Is he admitting there's something between them? Dare I say? Boss, tell us more. I was losing my mind. I threw myself into the passenger seat, fuming. Pei Ji-won, are you insane? What's wrong? He rested one hand on the steering wheel and lazily turned his face toward me. I was just stating a fact. From the time we got married until now, how many times have you coveted my body? And after everything that happened last night, now you say you have no improper feelings for me. I was speechless. Regardless, you shouldn't cause unnecessary misunderstandings in the work chat. What misunderstanding? They think I slept my way to the top. Pei Ji-won raised an eyebrow, thought for a moment, then deleted the message. Pei Ji-won toyed with his phone, his expression unreadable. Does the thought of your colleagues knowing you're Mrs. Pei bother you that much? I almost blurted out. I earned my position through years of hard work, not by being Mrs. Pei. The last thing I wanted was for everyone to think I'd gotten where I was through connections. An office romance really affected work. Besides, our marriage was fake. Pei Ji-won didn't respond. After a long pause, he suddenly asked, have you thought about what I said this morning? What? Coming home to meet my parents. I frowned, feeling troubled. Honestly, I couldn't figure out his real reason for wanting me to meet his family. But I had to admit, his words, can't it simply be because you're a daughter-in-law of the Pei family? Struck a chord. So whatever lay ahead, whether a dragon's den or a tiger's lair, I was ready to face it. On the way, Pei Ji-won bought some gifts. As soon as we entered the house, he said, Kiao Run specially bought these for you. Kiao Run, these are my parents. My palms were sweaty with nerves. I smiled stiffly. Hello, uncle, auntie. Since it was my first time meeting them, I didn't feel comfortable calling them mom and dad directly. Auntie Pei seemed like a very amiable woman, but I could also sense that, despite the polite smile on her face, she didn't seem to like me much. She took the gifts and set them aside casually. Go wash up. Dinner will be ready soon. She went back to the kitchen. My attention shifted to Uncle Pei, who was sitting on the sofa with a cold expression. He was watching a movie. He hadn't even glanced at me since I arrived. The atmosphere was suffocating. I'll help in the kitchen. I rolled up my sleeves, but Pei Ji-won pulled me back. No need. Go wash your hands and just wait to eat. He pushed me toward the bathroom. I closed the door and finally took a deep breath. While I was washing my hands, a new guest arrived. I opened the door and saw Liang Zhu immediately. Unlike the cold treatment I'd received, Liang Zhu's arrival was warmly welcomed. Auntie thought you weren't coming. Come in quickly. Wash up. Dinner's almost ready. How could I miss it, Auntie? Your cooking is so delicious. No matter how busy I am, I'd make time to come. Liang Zhu was smooth-tongued. As she spoke, she handed her gifts to Uncle Pei. Uncle, last time you mentioned your back was bothering you. I consulted a doctor friend and he said it's best not to take random medication. You should go to the hospital when you have time. I bought you this massager. It's very easy to use, let me show you. As she demonstrated how to use it, Uncle Pei listened attentively, his expression noticeably softening. I remembered Pei Xiang saying that Liang Zhu and Pei Ji-won grew up together, and she was his ex-girlfriend. Looking at the scene before me, the situation was clear. Knowing I was coming, they'd also invited Liang Zhu. They were deliberately trying to embarrass me. Sitting at the dinner table, I felt distinctly excluded. Auntie Pei kept putting food in Liang Zhu's bowl. When you came yesterday, Juan cooked. It's been a few years, hasn't it? Taste Auntie's cooking and see if I've lost my touch. Liang Zhu took a bite and nodded enthusiastically. Still as delicious as ever. Auntie, you have no idea. All those years abroad, I always missed your cooking. Auntie Pei's expression was full of affection. If you like it, eat more. Now that you're back, come by whenever you're free. Uncle Pei chimed in. Anyway, your auntie has nothing much to do. Just tell her what you want to eat. This warm, harmonious scene made me feel like an extra, and a very intrusive one at that. I took a bite of plain rice, feeling a bit dejected. This was a far cry from what I had imagined. Suddenly, a piece of braised pork landed in my bowl. I was startled and looked at Pei Jiwan beside me. He took a bite of his food, then said, "Mom, Dad, I brought your daughter-in-law home today. Isn't it a bit rude to invite outsiders over?" Silence fell instantly. The atmosphere shifted. Uncle Pei slapped his chopsticks on the table, his pent-up anger surfacing. "You've kept this from us for 3 years. Well done. If we hadn't found out, how much longer were you planning to hide it?" Pei Jiwan continued eating calmly, occasionally putting food in my bowl. His attitude only made Uncle Pei angrier. Liang Zhu tried to smooth things over. "Uncle, don't be angry. Jiwan was wrong, but I'm sure he had his reasons. Maybe there's something he finds hard to talk about." She shot a meaningful glance at Pei Jiwan. Hearing this, Auntie Pei spoke earnestly. "Jiwan, don't blame your father for his temper. You and Liang Zhu were so close growing up. You dated later. We always thought of Liang Zhu as the Pei family's daughter-in-law. Then you broke up suddenly 3 years ago, and now you come back with another woman, saying you've been married for 3 years. How are we supposed to accept this?" There was a long silence. Everyone was waiting for Pei Jiwan to explain. I was waiting too. I quietly looked at his profile. His long eyelashes covered his eyes, and I couldn't tell what he was thinking. Liang Zhu added unnecessarily, "Jiwan, just be honest with your parents. The truth is, you and Kiao run." Liang Zhu. Pei Jiwan looked up, cutting her off. "This is a family matter. Don't you think your presence here is inappropriate?" Liang Zhu's lips moved, her expression awkward. But before she could say anything, Uncle Pei slammed his fist on the table and stood up in anger. Auntie Pei quickly stepped forward to stop him. "If you have something to say it calmly." "What are you doing? Does it look like he wants to talk calmly?" Uncle Pei's veins bulged with anger. Auntie Pei's temper flared. "What's going on here? Huh? If no one wants to get along, then don't. What a mess. You think you're the only ones with tempers, is that it? Fine. Fight, argue. If you two don't kill each other today, then neither of you is any man." Everyone present. No one dared to breathe. Say what you will, but when Auntie Pei lost her temper, it was genuinely frightening. Uncle Pei suppressed his anger, finally managing to mutter, "You just spoil him. One day you'll spoil him rotten." Auntie Pei didn't back down. "He's 30. How much more spoiled can he get? I've spoiled you for decades, and look at you, still as timid as ever." Everyone's expressions were hard to describe. Uncle Pei's aggressive stance was completely deflated. He grumbled, "I'm talking to our son. Why are you attacking me?" Then he retreated to the bedroom in frustration. Auntie Pei rolled her eyes at his retreating back, then turned to us. "Jiwon, I heard you and Kiao Run got married as a sham marriage. What's going on? Marriage is not a joke. You're not just being irresponsible to yourself, but to Kiao Run too. And it's unfair to Liang Zhu." Pei Jiwan suddenly took my hand, his gaze firm. "My relationship with Kiao Run has nothing to do with anyone else." Auntie Pei frowned and turned away. "Come with me." She went to the study, and Pei Jiwan followed. I didn't know whether to sit or stand. Behind me, Yang Zhu's voice suddenly sounded, "He's lying to you." I turned around, waiting for her to continue. Liang Zhu stepped forward. "Are you still holding on to the illusion that Pei Jiwan likes you?" What was she going to say now? Liang Zhu curled her lips in a sarcastic smile, then took out her phone and showed me a surveillance video. "This is from the camera outside my house last night." Outside her house, Pei Jiwan and Liang Zhu stood face to face, very close. I couldn't hear what they were saying. All I saw was Liang Zhu wrapping her arms around the back of Pei Jiwan's neck, rising on her tiptoes and kissing him. The video ended there. Something stabbed fiercely at my heart. So last night, after they left wherever they'd been, Pei Jiwan had taken her home, and they'd been intimate. It wasn't as innocent as he'd made it out to be. I stood frozen. Liang Zhu leaned close to my ear, her tone provocative. "Now you understand, don't you? He never got over me." I slowly turned my gaze to the glaring smile on Liang Zhu's lips. Almost instinctively, I raised my hand and slapped her hard across the face. Liang Zhu was stunned. She covered her cheek, her eyes wide with disbelief. You dare hit me? I curved my lips into a smile. Pei Jiwon is my husband right now. By blatantly provoking me, weren't you asking for it? Liang Zhu swallowed her anger and smirked. You're jealous. Why would I be jealous? I leaned close to her ear, enunciating each word deliberately. His kisses are quite something. Liang Zhu's face paled. He's kissed you. Among other things. My eyes narrowed into a smile. Using the same provocative tone, I said, I've tried everything. Have to say, the user experience is quite impressive. Hearing this, Liang Zhu's eyes burned with jealousy. Her lips trembled with rage. She clenched her fists, unwilling to accept defeat. After a moment, she forced a cold laugh. So what? He's just retaliating against me. Retaliating? If you don't believe me, ask Pei Xiang. He knows everything. I left the Pei family home, my hands and feet growing cold as I walked along the street. Pei Xiang had shown up somehow, pulling his car to the side of the road and hurrying over with a concerned tone. Sis, are you okay? I wrapped my coat tighter and glanced at him. What are you doing here? I heard you were coming here today, and I knew Liang Zhu would be here too. I figured there'd be trouble. Judging by your expression, you got the short end of the stick. Liang Zhu told you, didn't she? I called him out directly. Pei Xiang didn't deny it. Let me give you a ride. It's pretty cold tonight. I hugged myself for warmth and asked bluntly, Go on, what does Liang Zhu want you to tell me? Pei Xiang hesitated, lifting his eyes several times before stammering. It's about 3 years ago, when my uncle married you. He'd just broken up with Liang Zhu. The reason for the breakup? It seems she blamed my uncle for being unromantic. So she slept with another man. My uncle found out and broke up with her. She was so angry she married that man and went abroad with him. I tightened my arms around myself. So she's saying Pei Jiwon married me to get back at her. Pei Xiang didn't deny my interpretation, adding quietly, Last night, when they talked about it again, my uncle was still furious. Liang Zhu thinks he still cares about her. Last night. So Pei Jiwon hadn't touched me for 3 years, but after taking Liang Zhu home last night, he came back. Ha. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Fucking insane. I strode away. Pei Xiang followed behind me. Sis, don't let this get to you. There are plenty of good men in the world. Fuck. Huh? I couldn't hold back a curse. Startled, Pei Xiang stopped in his tracks. I hailed a taxi and left. Before I got home, Liang Zhu sent me several more text messages. You should divorce him. I can tell you're not the type of woman who can accept a husband cheating on you. I can give you compensation. Name your price. There's no point holding on to a man who doesn't love you. Think it over. Finally, Pei Jiwon called me. Why did you leave by yourself? I sat on the bed. I hadn't even turned on the lights. I only wanted to confirm one thing. Last night, did you take Liang Zhu home? Did you kiss? The few seconds of silence on the other end chilled me to the bone. Kiao, run. I need some time to think. I hung up, gave myself a few minutes and decided to leave for a while. After packing my things, I texted Pei Jiwon. Director Pei, I'm taking a week off. Without waiting for his approval, I grabbed my suitcase and left. After I ignored several of his calls, he stopped trying. My parents lived in another province. It was a 2-hour ride with a carpool. When I showed up in the middle of the night, my parents were happy to see me, but even more worried. Why are you back alone in the middle of the night? Where's Joan? Did you two fight? I shook my head, trying to sound casual. I happened to be on a business trip here, so I asked to stay home for a few days. But showing up in the dead of night wasn't exactly convincing. My parents didn't push though, telling me to go wash up and get some sleep. I lay in bed but couldn't sleep, soaking a large patch of my pillow with tears. How pathetic. At my age, when things got hard, the only place I could think of to go was home, to my parents. But I didn't know how to tell them. What would I say? That my marriage to Pei Jiwon had been fake from the start, a lie to deceive them. That I might have fallen for him, or how he treated me, and whether I even had the right to feel wronged. When a relationship begins as a farce, the misery and humiliation along the way are inevitable. The next morning, my mother made my favorite century egg and lean pork congee. While we ate, she cautiously asked, "What's really going on with you and Jiwon?" My throat tightened. I weighed my words carefully. "Mum, there's something I want to tell you." My mother frowned. "What is it?" I was scared. "If I tell you, promise you won't get mad." I really didn't have the courage to confess about Pei Jiwon and me. I'd used up all my nerve when I decided to fake the marriage in the first place. If they found out, they'd probably have a heart attack from anger. My mother put down her chopsticks, her expression turning serious. "Go on." Damn. With my mother looking like that, even 10 times the courage wouldn't be enough. I forced a smile. "I'm kidding. What could be wrong? It's just that I'll be home for about a week, and I was afraid you'd get tired of me." My mother relaxed. "I thought you were going to say something serious. Are you sure nothing's wrong with you and Jiwon?" "Nothing." "Good. Your father wanted to call Jiwon this morning, but I stopped him. I wanted to find out what's going on first. I didn't want to create problems where there are none." "Really, nothing's wrong." I finished my congee calmly and helped my mother wash the dishes. She gave me a sideways glance. "But you and Jiwon have been married 3 years now. When are you planning to have children?" I paused. "We'll see." My mother started in again. "You're still young now. It's better for your body to have children earlier. If you wait much longer, childbirth will be harder on you." Since I couldn't avoid the topic, I gathered my courage and tested the waters. "Mom, what if I don't want children?" My mother stopped, turning to look at me. I took a deep breath. I might as well come clean. "Mom, I want to divorce Pei Jiwon." As expected, my mother was stunned. It took her a long moment to recover. "Divorce? Why?" I pressed my lips together, unsure how to explain. Just then, someone downstairs called my name. We lived on the 3rd floor. I could hear it clearly. I frowned in confusion and looked down. "Pei Xiang? Who is that?" My mother squinted, her expression darkening. "Kiao Run, are you having an affair?" I was horrified. "Mom, what are you saying?" I raised my hand to swear. "I'm not." My mother had zero tolerance for infidelity. She'd kill me. She was already rolling up her sleeves. "Some man's chasing you all the way to our home, and you're still denying it. So this is what you were stammering about earlier. What, at your age you've started liking younger men?" "Mom, calm down. I'm innocent. Let me explain." Under the threat of my mother's violence, I confessed everything, holding nothing back. At that moment, I was curled up on the sofa, not daring to lift my head, while Pei Xiang was being thoroughly scolded by my mother. "Auntie, I really like Sister Kiao. Besides, she and my uncle aren't getting along. Divorce is inevitable." Pei Xiang, oblivious to his impending doom, kept talking. I discreetly tugged at his sleeve, pleading silently. "Please, kid, save yourself." He clearly didn't appreciate my concern, determined to prove his sincerity to my mother. But as soon as he opened his mouth again, my mother pointed her rolling pin at him. "She's not divorced yet. What do you call this? Seducing a married woman. And you?" Mom. My mother swung the rolling pin toward me. I raised my hands in terror. "I don't like him. I'm not having an affair. This is all one-sided. I'm innocent." Even Pei Xiang was intimidated by the display. Swallowing hard, he still tried to stand in front of me. "Auntie, if you're angry, take it out on me." My mother didn't hold back. She struck him on the waist with the rolling pin, fury radiating from her. "Our family matters are none of your business. Get out." Pei Xiang's legs trembled. He didn't dare speak for a long moment. I tried to signal him with my eyes. "Please, stop making it worse." Pei Xiang still wouldn't leave. My mother raised the rolling pin and hit him left and right. Pei Xiang screaming and covering his head. "Come near Kiao Run again, and next time I'll beat you worse." My mother pushed him out the door like a fury and slammed it shut. I curled myself up tighter. My mother paced around the room for a while, then yelled at my father. "Call Pei Jiwon. Tell him to get here right now." I ventured. "Mom, he's really busy at work." "How could he possibly come?" "Only he's busy." My mother was still fuming, her presence intimidating. I'm not busy. I spent over 20 years raising a daughter. I'm busier than him. I shut up. By nightfall, Hei-Ji-wan arrived. As soon as he entered, his gaze swept over me. Then he greeted my mother. Mom. Don't call me Mom. My mother wiped her tired, weary face, her eyes red-rimmed. How did you promise me back then? And now look at you. Hei-Ji-wan was silent. Then he pulled out his phone and showed my mother a video. I glanced at it. It was the same video Liang Zhu had shown me, but with more footage. Just as Liang Zhu stood on tiptoe about to kiss him, Hei-Ji-wan pushed her away. Liang Zhu, her eyes red with frustration, demanded, Why won't you touch me? Hei-Ji-wan, is there something wrong with you? If you'd never touched me, would I have slept with another man? In the end, you destroyed our relationship yourself. As Liang Zhu made her passionate accusations, Hei-Ji-wan stepped back. I didn't touch you back then out of respect. Now, I won't touch you out of respect for my marriage. With that, Hei-Ji-wan turned and left. I looked up at Hei-Ji-wan. He looked back at me. There was a deep sadness and confusion in his eyes. I went to her place to retrieve something. My mother had given her the bracelet meant for the daughter-in-law. I buried my face in my knees again, feeling a frozen block of ice slowly melting in my chest. Hei-Ji-wan said to my parents, Dad, Mom, I'd like to talk with Kiao Run alone. I followed him downstairs. The sky was darkening, and a slight chill hung in the air. A suit jacket fell across my shoulders. Hei-Ji-wan was only wearing a light grey shirt underneath. He lit a cigarette and took a shallow drag. In the swirl of smoke, he looked at me. Earlier on the phone, Mum said you told them the truth about our marriage. Yes. I lowered my eyes, staring at my own feet. Hei-Ji-wan's gaze rested on the top of my head, his voice laced with resignation. Have you thought it through? By confessing to my parents, I was essentially signaling my consideration of ending this relationship. When he asked, I nodded. I was just tired of the ambiguous situation. But when Hei-Ji-wan said, Okay, my heart still clenched painfully. Maybe I'd been hoping he would try to stop me. He said, When you go back, we'll go through with the divorce. I never lifted my head. Now that it was truly ending, I realized how reluctant I was to let go. I watched Hei-Ji-wan leave and lingered downstairs for a long time. Only when I went upstairs did I realize I was still wearing his suit jacket. My mother asked me urgently, How did it go? I pretended to be calm. We decided to get divorced. My mother was stunned. She followed me quickly into the room. Wasn't the cheating thing already cleared up? Why are you still divorcing? I was surprised by her reaction. Mum, our marriage was fake. Now that the truth is out, isn't divorce the natural course? Shouldn't she be angry that I deceived her about something so significant? The marriage may have been fake, but the feelings are real. Then my mother told me that before Hei-Ji-wan came to our house that time I'd seen him, they'd already met him several times. Back then, after learning I had a boyfriend, my parents had been too excited to contain themselves. Wanting to personally vet their future son-in-law, they'd sought out Hei-Ji-wan on their own. At that moment, Hei-Ji-wan must have been full of confusion. When they realized it was a misunderstanding, my parents went home disappointed. But they'd exchanged contact information. My parents were impressed with Hei-Ji-wan in every way, especially his character and the way he spoke. Once, when my father had a flare-up of a chronic condition and needed to go to the hospital, my mother was flustered and didn't know what to do. Just then, Hei-Ji-wan called. He had been planning to visit them because he was about to go on a business trip. Instead, he drove directly to take my father to the hospital. He didn't leave until he was sure everything was fine. This incident made my parents think even more highly of him. My mother said such things had happened several times. Actually, that time, we originally planned to set up a blind date between you two. Who knew you'd already decided to get married? We didn't think too much of it then. My mother spoke earnestly. Your father and I had an arranged marriage too. We didn't have much of a foundation at the start either. But we've had a stable life all these years and we had you. Now neither of us can live without the other. The next day, at the entrance to the Civil Affairs Bureau, Hei-Ji-wan was waiting for me. I got out of the car and walked up to him. We were both quiet, neither knowing how to begin. Hei-Ji-wan, Kiao Run, can we not get divorced? We spoke at the same time, but his words made my heart skip. He stepped closer. There was a hint of weariness in his features. When I didn't respond, he smiled wryly, then fell silent and started walking forward. Pei Juan. I reached out and grabbed the hem of his jacket. He stopped, slowly turning back to look at me. I kept my head down, my fingertips pale from gripping the fabric. I tugged him back. Let's go home. Pei Juan's brow gradually relaxed. When he spoke again, his voice trembled slightly. Kiao Run, what did you say? I said let's go home. I leaned closer to his chest. I'm hungry. The tight line of Pei Juan's lips finally relaxed completely. You've thought this through. This is your only chance to get a divorce. My gaze was steady as I reminded him. This is your only chance too. Pei Juan smiled. I've never wanted a divorce. Even with Liang Zhu back. Kiao Run, marrying you wasn't impulsive. I thought it through carefully. These 3 years I've been waiting for you to forget that person. What person? The one who got married. The one you cried about all night. He couldn't be talking about that singer. Could he? I had cried pretty hard back then. What can I say? The internet was full of nostalgia for youth. And I was at that confusing age of 25. Songs by that singer were playing everywhere. I listened with headphones all night, and somehow ended up crying into my pillow. A week later, both families met for the first time. In the private room, the atmosphere was initially tense until Liang Zhu suddenly burst in. Uncle, Auntie, I heard you were here, so I came to say hello. Liang Zhu had clearly gotten wind of this and came deliberately. Her lips curved into a smile as she scanned the room. Oh, you have guests? Auntie, I don't think I've met them before. By the way, my parents are coming soon. Why don't both families have dinner together? I stood up. Today was a special day, and I wasn't going to let her dismiss my parents. Just as I was about to step forward, Pei Juan put his arm around my shoulders. The next moment, I saw Auntie Pei pull her hand back, maintaining her polite smile. Liang Zhu, your uncle and I have important guests today. Let's have dinner together another time. Liang Zhu's hand fell empty, her smile freezing. Auntie, Liang Zhu, I've watched you grow up. You've always been a sensible girl. My in-laws are here today. I really don't have time for dinner. Though Auntie Pei spoke softly, her expression carried undeniable authority. Liang Zhu, unwilling to accept defeat, walked up to Pei Juan. Juan, why did you delete all my contacts? If I meant nothing to you, why bother? Pei Juan pulled me closer. My wife deleted them. Liang Zhu sneered at me. I knew it. Kiao Run, you're well aware he still has feelings for me, aren't you? That's why you're scared. Do you think deleting his contacts will erase me from his heart? I stepped out of Pei Juan's embrace and walked toward her. Perhaps remembering my slap, Liang Zhu instinctively stepped back. I didn't want to hit her. I just wanted to ask her something. What kind of indigestible thing are you? Do we need to pass you out? You what? If you don't leave, I will hit you again. Liang Zhu stomped her foot in frustration. She looked at Pei Juan, then around the room, saw no one welcomed her, and stormed off. Once she left, the atmosphere instantly relaxed. Our parents chatted animatedly, making Pei Juan and me feel rather superfluous. After the meal, Auntie Pei called out to me. Kiao Run, I want to talk to you. I stopped. She took my hand, her expression apologetic. Your uncle and I weren't kind to you before. Don't take it to heart. We were genuinely angry with that boy. But after he talked with me that day, I understood. He's with you because he genuinely likes you. I nodded. She patted the back of my hand and spoke earnestly. If there's anything your uncle and I did that upset you, please bear with us. From now on, Pei Juan is in your hands. If he ever bullies you, come tell us. He's good to me. I was a bit embarrassed to praise him. Auntie Pei smiled when she heard this. He said the same about you. But he said the best. He said you're the best. Is that so? I looked toward Pei Juan's back. My parents were giving him instructions, and he was listening attentively. If you're fortunate enough to meet someone in marriage, someone gentle and wonderful, how lucky is that? There was an incident in the company group chat. After Pei Juan deleted his message, it exploded. No one avoided discussing our relationship anymore. It had been buzzing ever since. After sending both sets of parents off, Pei Jiwon got into the car. He glanced at me, then picked up his phone and sent something. Soon I saw a new image appear in the group chat, a photo of our marriage certificate. Pei Jiwon. Mrs. Pei. Car run. The group chat exploded again. Are you trying to torture us singles? I definitely didn't see the boss and Sister Kiao messing around in the office yesterday. That couple I saw in the parking lot yesterday probably wasn't them, right? Now that you mention it, I came back after work last night to get something and saw the manager's office light on. Did we have a burglar? We've been exposed like this so many times. I covered my face, too embarrassed to face my colleagues. Pei Jiwon scrolled through the chat logs with a neutral expression when his phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and answered. What? 3 people, waiting for you. It sounded like his group of friends. Pei Jiwon said. Busy. Aren't you free every night? Who was it that used to drag us out to play cards all the time? What's going on? Can't get hold of you for days. You single dogs wouldn't understand. No way. A new female employee joined the company. Her name was Kiao Run. She had delicate features, fair skin, and wore her hair in a vibrant high ponytail. Her smile radiated energy. Usually, I didn't attend department dinners, but that day I went on a whim. She was completely without guile, toasting everyone freely. By the time I arrived, she was already quite drunk. She raised her glass and smiled at me goofily. Boss, this toast is for your long life. Gulp. She downed it and turned the glass upside down to show me. I didn't move. I just watched her. She looked cute when she was drunk. She poured herself another without prompting. This one's for a happy marriage. And this third one, for many descendants. I stopped her before the third. I took the glass from her hand and set it on the table, then reached out to catch her as she swayed. You've had too much. A colleague rushed forward to steady her. Sorry, Director Pei. I'll call a car to take her home. Send me her address. I'm heading back now. I can drop her off. That's good, safer. Thanks, boss. On the way back, she was being rowdy in the passenger seat. She was talking about blind dates. Drunk. She complained about the men she'd met and the ridiculous stories. I remarked, there are plenty of good men in the world. There are thousands of men in this world. But who is your number one? After shouting this, she laughed like a fool. I smiled, a little exasperated, and stopped talking, just listening to her ramble. She lived alone. As I helped her inside, she stumbled, falling into my arms. Before I could react, she cut my face and kissed me. Good boy, Mommy loves you. Later, I found out the good boy she mentioned was a dog she'd had. I looked at her flushed cheeks but ultimately didn't kiss her back while playing the role of good boy. Later, I overheard colleagues talking. Kiao Run, why don't you have a boyfriend? Want me to set you up? She flipped her hair defiantly. If I wanted a man, what kind couldn't I get? I don't have those worldly desires. I only want to make money. Hearing this, my heart sank. She really wasn't interested in men. Otherwise, despite all my hints, why hadn't she looked my way? My chance came when she was video calling her parents. I deliberately walked into the frame. After hearing her struggle to explain, ultimately choosing to stay silent, I sipped my coffee and considered turning the misunderstanding into reality. As it happened, her parents showed up a few days later. And so, we got our marriage license. She did it on a whim, but not me. I had broken up with Liang Zhu 6 months earlier. We'd known each other for over 20 years, and getting together had been what both families expected. But after a year together, I realized we weren't compatible. Even before Liang Zhu cheated, I tried to break up with her several times. My reason? No feeling. I wasn't entirely sure what that feeling meant until Kiao Run slept beside me. That feeling was torture. Her breathing buried against my chest while she slept torture. The accidental brush when she turned over torture. Her drunken boldness even more torture. Every time she made a move, I thought, if only she was sober, I wouldn't let her go. I didn't want her to call someone else's name while she was with me. Once I asked her, "Who's Ajaxi? Your ex-boyfriend?" She murmured, "The man I can never have, boo-hoo." How much did she love that ex? With her eyes unfocused and her hands wandering recklessly, Afraid I'd lose control, I wrapped her tightly in a blanket and took a cold shower. After that, I started coming home late, staying out with friends until midnight. Once, she went out with her friends, drank too much, and called me to ask when I was coming back. I lost interest in the card game. Didn't I tell you not to drink? She was crying on the phone. I like you. Why don't you like me? There's someone else in your heart, isn't there? I know. But I still like you. She was thinking of that man again. Even knowing she was saying these things to someone else in her mind, it still moved me. Hey, your turn. Who are you talking to? Your wife. As my friends noisily urged me, I said quietly to her, I like you too. She seemed to have heard. What? I threw down my cards, grabbed my jacket and hurried out, coaxing. I said be good. I'm coming home now. Anyway, however long this life lasted, that was how long our marriage would last. The words I like you might yet find their moment.